And we are back. So there are like discussion about Finnish MTT players. I don't think that I think that you need to follow the players and follow the scene to know that who are the really good players and who are not. So I'm probably not the expert in the Finnish MTT players.
Vernon Bax is asking about our live caches. Not that many, and that's mainly because we haven't played live that many times. I think that the games I have played live can be counted with my very own 10 fingers.
Easily, but you have still won an EPT side event, so
Yeah, that's true.
Something. I'm trying to look at if there are good hypers going up.
Go ahead. We thought that we would be playing more live events now that we live in Tallinn instead of Finland, but for some weird reason that hasn't been the case. I just think that we mainly think about the situation that during the same time that we play one live event that's taking quite a few hours, even though there is only 20-30 players. If you just think about how many games you could play online during the same time, it just doesn't make sense money-wise. But I think it would be different if we won a package or decided to go somewhere playing a bigger live events, then we would go on with practicing more how to play live. But since we are concentrating now playing only online, obviously there hasn't been that many caches.
But if there are like friends here, then we have gone to the local casinos a few times to see how the games are. Tran said that he has found summer was way softer online MTT wise last summer, lots of added equity. Yeah, a lot of grinders are taking the summer off. Because, for example, if you live in Finland, the summer is the most awesome time of the year. It's like the time that you can be outside and enjoy yourself.
And you really can be outside, and you are willing to do so.
Yeah.
And when there are a lot of good grinders visiting VSOP, of course they are not playing online during that time. So the fields are probably softer in that sense.
And I think that Tran is also pretty correct that traveling somewhere is only plus EV if you can play live cash games compared to online. I think some of the Eureka poker tours can be plus EV when you can be rolled or you can pretty easily sell packages to if you are playing all the side events. But it's very hard to make a trip plus EV if you are only going to play one event. You need to be rolled to play side events to make a trip profitable, I think. Or then you need to be rolled to play the cash games that are running during the tournament series. And we haven't been doing that much live also by that reason, because we can also go to a vacation to a city without playing poker and enjoy the vacation instead of just being inside in an air-conditioned casino with a sweater on all the time. Vernon Bax asked that will you guys be watching Super Bowl today? We are going to be watching Super Bowl today, and we are probably trying to call Kyberi or someone that understands the rules to explain it how it works for us, because American football, it's practically non-existent in Estonia, or it's non-existent in Estonia and it's practically non-existent in Finland. So we pretty much don't understand anything, but we can see the Super Bowl from TV, so we are having options.
I have never seen a single game, and I have no ideas about the rules. but I heard that the commercials are anyway the thing to see. So we'll see.
We'll see. But I must say that I don't understand anything about Super Bowl, so as like American football wise, I remember one of my poker friends that pretty much quit after Black Friday was a fan of Seattle Seahawks, and he was crushed before Black Friday when Seattle Seahawks traded Matt Hasselbeck away. But I don't think that he will be crying today anyway. Oh, Vernon Backs busted the storm.
Bad luck. But anyways, we have a football in Europe, and it's a play when there's a ball you play with a foot, and then the American football there is no play with a foot and there is no ball. So I don't know where they get that, but it's more like a hand egg.
Yeah, but it's going to be a spectacle. I think that NFL is the biggest sports franchise on the earth, so there is something there, but that something is something that we don't understand. And also Major League Baseball is something that we don't play baseball in Finland. There's a variation that's really different, and also I'm thinking that it's probably the second largest sport money-wise, or the second most valuable league there is, and Finns don't understand either. And also, if you are thinking about then the soccer is something that's popular in Finland and Estonia, so that's something that's understood. Oh, we are getting some information across the pond on what's Super Bowl all about.
Maybe I should write these down because I won't be able to remember all the tricks, but let me see. Each team has 4 chances to gain 10 yards. These are called downs. Once a player is tackled to the ground or a pass is made incompleted, that is a down. Once they gain 10 yards, they get a new set of 10 downs. Did you get that?
It sounds simple, and I think Kyber's explanation that there's going to be 22 tables, 22 players, and 21 players are crashing into each other, and one player is trying to run with the ball and tries to get away from all the others. That's
Okay.
pretty much the explanation we have in here, so...
Yeah, I just seen in the movies that there is one guy who has the ball, and then everybody's just jumping on top of him if possible. Right? That's how it seems for me.
And Tran says that UEFA Champions League is pretty close to a 1 also. I don't think Champions League is like a league in its own right, but the teams are probably, like the combined teams in the Champions League are having the highest budgets combined. And also the games, but I think also the games aren't the biggest ones, because I think the rights to the games are still cheaper than the rights to the NFL playoffs are. And there are also so few games in the Champions League. And You Lost Pro is explaining Finnish sports like mosquito swatting and carrying wives and like all the sick stuff, because Finland is a country of only 5 million people and there needs to be some sports that we are good at. So that's why we are inventing sports that are completely insane for the rest of the world, so that we can win the world championship at something. Like throwing a Nokia mobile phone.
Swimming in the snow. Have you seen that?
No.
Even a Finn hasn't seen that. There's a YouTube video of it. And of course, it goes with Finnish mentality that the prize for a winner in the wife carrying competition is some beer, and the amount of the beer is the same than the weight of the wife. So it kind of says it all. There might be some nice medal or something, but I think the beer is the one that everybody's going for. But it has been a pretty a shameful situation, because I think there has been an Estonian couple who has been winning there a lot in that game, and not the Finnish ones.
And Vernon Bax is trying to explain more that if they decide to kick a field goal through the uprights, that's worth 3 points. If you score a touchdown, that's like a try in rugby, that's worth 6 points. Like, I think I have never seen rugby on a TV in Finland or Estonia. Like, and like when we were on a Caribbean cruise, then we could see some cricket on the TVs, but never rugby. So rugby is even more foreign.
Did I say throwing wives? If I said, I meant carrying them.
But throwing boots is also, or throwing gummy boots.
Wellingtons.
Wellingtons.
Yes. Yeah, sauna championships, it was a good event until someone died. So, and air guitar, is it also a Finnish thing?
Perhaps, and then there is also the air sex world championships.
Yeah.
Actually, there are some statistics that I have read from rugby that less players are injured by playing rugby than are injured by playing American football, even though the game is similar and you are having less protective gear when you are playing rugby.
And that's kind of funny that Kuuba is saying that rugby is a game for real men. And I was just about to say that I really want to start that when I was staying at Jyväskylä. But then I was said that it's not a good idea for me. So I was really sad about that, because it sounded like a sport that I could start with no experience and keep on playing just for fun and physics. Because I was quite old and I obviously couldn't start anything else in sport-wise, because all the other leagues or teams were mainly of that kind that they had been playing for example, football for many, many years, so there was no chance that I could go into that kind of position lightly.
Interesting. I think now I'm trying to check for getting them to bluff and getting more money into the pot. I was just flat calling pre-flop because I think that I'm going to get more money in that way. And I think I need to raise a bit here to make a side pot that's worth playing. And aggro Kev, I won't be liking it if he's going all in. That's for sure.
You won't be liking it.
It's going to be so far the biggest decision, and I'm like 80% sure that whatever button I press, there is a 70% chance that I'm going to look stupid.
Think hard. You're gonna look stupid anyway.
I think there's only 70% chance on both buttons that I'm going to look stupid.
But we don't know that for sure until you do your decision.
I'm thinking if there is enough weaker hands that he can check and ship it. Actually, no. I don't think that there are. And the 70% chance of looking stupid realizes.
And then you don't have to look at the results, because he would have hit the straight. Or he did. And you would have lost it. But you don't have to, and you shouldn't think it in that way. But it was a hard spot. and since he's that of a neat player, I think he had better, or he should have had better, in my opinion.
Yeah, but if I would have called, like, if I would have called it pre-flop or on the flop, we would have gotten the money in at a decent lead. But oh well, it happens, and that's pretty frustrating when you are holding a coaching and then there is a spot that you know that you are going to look stupid no matter what you do, and there is like it's going to be a great fold, but then it's going to be a great call, but oh well. And Korpi's fold there is good with king queen suited. Guy shouldn't have worse, but he still had, so.
But anyway, you did your decision based on the facts and based on your reads and based on your gut feeling. So I agree with Korpi Sotori that there shouldn't have had worse than you had.
I think when we are just calling the min raise, he's going to have queen 9, queen 7 in his range, and I think those are the hands that are going to check shove the flop. Like, don't get it.
Yeah, I think that Agrokev got straight on the river.
Yeah, so he would have outdrawn us anyway, but that's a bit of a. But we would have gotten flush, so.
Yeah, I forgot your.
Yeah.
Complete hand.
So we had a backdoor flush draw, so it would have been good for us in the end, but you can't know it.
No.
And it would have been good for us on the flop as well. So I'm going to show the 180 rebuy next. There shouldn't be that much better that he's going to bet. There are better overpairs for sure. But when he checks, if it wouldn't have been an ace, this would have been a spot that I would have been value betting, but well, I think that the players that are betting with overcard, they are hitting the ace so much, so.
But you just wanted to have a check call line on the flop instead of betting.
I think it's slightly better. If we are raising the flop, we are just going to make him fold his worst hands and going to make him call with the better ones, or re-raising us, and then we are folding our equity because it most likely is then that we know that he has a better overpair, and that's not that good of a spot. But also when he's folding his worst hands, we are realizing some of our equity because the hands, even though he should have worse hand on the flop, then we are realizing our equity in that if he folds, he's probably not outdrawing us, and he's going to have a lot of equity on the flop when we are having a weak overpair. How long the Super Bowl match takes? I'm going on a gut feeling and saying that it's going to be 3 or 4 hours, perhaps. Am I correct?
Maybe Vernon Baxter or someone else has a better idea. Because again, we haven't seen a single game.
I have watched it somewhere.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, somewhere, sometime. That I remember that I was watching it, and I don't even remember did I watch it all the way, but that's my gut feeling. And have I kept count on how many 5-figure online MTT scores have you had over your lifetime so far? Yes. Because the number is 0. So I haven't had any 5-figure scores. And on 4-figure scores, probably can't remember. Those I have had a lot of.
And Wernenbach says that it's gonna take at least 4 hours for the Super Bowl match.
And halftime is like an hour because it's a big show. There should be Bruno Mars playing.
Ah, they have those singers and dancers and all that other stuff. That's always some kind of huge thing going on.
Yeah.
That Nimblegate was on Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake, I think.
Yeah, that's more I know about Super Bowl than the play itself. Should we watch it like in a traditional way? Then we should have all that junk food, all that.
We have some cheese sticks on the freezer, so we can have some junk food.
Those cheese rolls, yeah.
Or they were cheese rolls, not cheese sticks.
No, rolls. Because that's the thing, we cannot find any cheese sticks here at the supermarket. At least I still haven't found, and we have been living here for 2 years already. It's weird, I cannot find them anywhere. I know that there must be a place, at least, for restaurants where they get those, but not on the normal supermarkets. I know many places in Finland where they sell those, but for some reason, not here. At least not on the places where I have been looking for.
And I have more, when I have played MTTs, I have been concentrating on the smaller fields, so usually I don't even have a chance at 5-figure cashes, and closest I have been was 27th at the Supernova free roll that had 100k for the winner and 5 bigs for everyone in the final table.
I have a couple of forfeits as well.
Yeah, but you have been winning like the PokerStars Women events, you have been winning 2 or 3 of those, the 55.
Yeah. And when they had that anniversary thing, I was on second or something, and it was a huge pot. And then I won one ladies PCA package. It wasn't real money though, but it was worth a lot. I think it was worth
3 point some case.
3.5 case probably. Yeah, like cheese strings, but with breaded cheese strings that are frozen, and then you can put those in the oven. Yeah, I meant those. Like mozzarella sticks. They are awesome.
But I'm thinking that can we even get any kind of junk food anymore? So we are like unprepared for the Super Bowl.
We are, because I didn't know that we were gonna watch it, or we should watch it, and it's 1:30 already. All the normal shops are closed, and it's Sunday/Monday. There is a McDonald's that's open 24/7, but that's probably it. And then there's one kebab area that's open also 24/7.
Tran, if you are commenting about a hand, you should include on what table it is, like top left, top right, whatever, because then it's easier for me to find it out. Our chat has a delay for something like 30 seconds before I can see what you are writing, so that will be quite problematic for us to communicate. And usually not any MTTs, so that there has been like 2 hands passing, but it's sometimes hard to look them up. And Tran, if you are a Finn, you should take a look at our forum because there is a lot of stuff in Finnish. Right now I think that we are having the most active Finnish poker forum, message-wise.
Damn you, Korpisaturi, you cannot say those things with me getting hungry and hungry. Burgers, chips, dips, mozzarella sticks, chicken wings, battery, Coca-Cola. Where's your beer? You need to have beer for Super Bowl.
I'm pretty close of smashing a mouse. I'm getting food tilted.
Oh, that is... Tiago is sitting out. I was afraid that I missed the pot and you did something.
On the Sommerald on the hand that is Jack 10. Let's see how it goes to the position. If I'm betting like I have 5k left and the pot is about 5k, I don't think that I can fold even if he ships it. Although I'm not liking it that much. If he ships it, it's going to be 4k already in. And on here I think that it's going to be more plus EV to min-raise fold than to shove it. Even though shoving would be perfectly fine, it would be plus EV. I just think it's more plus EV because most of the people aren't 3-bet shoving as light as they should to make it minus EV for me to play it.
Korpisaturi went to the shop like an hour ago. What shop is open at that time in Finland?
It's some ABC or something.
It must be.
But actually that's something that we don't have in Estonia that much because all the Prismas and places, they are open to 23 every day. So they are from 7 to 23. So there are only 8 hours that shops are closed. And that's why it's pretty hard for the 24-hour shops to make a good living. So there are like, I think we know for 2 or 3 shops that are open 24/7.
But they are further away. So I'm starting to think about more and more about those burgers. And that's a good thing in a sense that I know that I can get those, but bad in a sense that we have a thing going on here and I shouldn't be thinking about the food right now.
We should have had a cheat day for our diet yesterday, but we pretty much blew it when Dayah fell down in the shopping mall, and we were wondering, do we need to get her to hospital if her condition starts deteriorating so hard.
And then we were too afraid to go any restaurant, and then because it was our cheat day, we had some candy earlier on, and you felt a bit sick about those, and then we just had some frozen pizzas at home instead of going some nice place which have been on our dreams for 6 long days. So it didn't go as planned.
It didn't.
So that's one reason I'm really starting to think about that. Maybe we could continue that for a little bit more. And I could always leave you here and go myself to get some burgers, but then it would be just frustrating for you because
I think that if we are having some hungry guys like Julosbro on the chat, if we are trying to eat while the stream is on, we could get some death threats or something because it's going to be hard for them to watch if we are getting the largest burgers possible.
Yeah, but you are really starting to think about those burgers, aren't you?
Yeah. I read for I think some Japanese guys. They were doing a research on like how you should eat a burger so it's optimal. And you should have
Yeah.
your little finger and thumb on the bottom of it, and the three fingers on top of it. And it sounds a bit weird, but then it should be. It probably divides the pressure better, so you don't get the insides pooling out.
And maybe it's not a coincidence that we both read that article today. And yes, Virpa, you are completely true.
And I thought that I have an auto add-on with me, but I didn't, so I missed the add-on, and you should never miss add-ons on a rebuy game.
You didn't have that, but you always have that automatically on.
I should have.
Shit.
That's not a... It's not a oh shit problem, it's just...
Oh crap.
Actually, I have the optimal time that automatically rebuy whenever possible, automatically add-on during add-on period. But for some reason it didn't work, so now I need to watch my games more closely. Actually, I'm not taking this one yet. I'm taking a Hyper Turbo event.
I think the only case that Arni would break the mouse would be that I would go to the get some burgers and would eat them without giving him any. Then I'm pretty sure that mouse would be a dead one.
Do we have Iceland on the country list?
I'm not sure.
I think we should check it, because Iceland could be a new one.
Valkku knows it for sure.
Yeah, Valkku knows. We have also Poland in here, but that should be done.
Yeah, because there is already
88 countries on the list.
We have a list on the Finnish site that we are putting on all the countries that we have been having players against, and there is already 88 countries, including some really original ones.
And Panama was just, I think it was like 3 countries ago. The guy is from Greece and he's playing with a tablet. Like every read that you can have that, and he's showing Chrome stars, so that's probably enough to label him as a casual player, even though we have no stats and no hands against him.
I haven't tested the Burger King in Helsinki, but I have had those burgers somewhere else around the world. But it's just insane that they have like half an hour lines in Helsinki because they just opened there, and they still have those, I guess, even though they opened like a month or 2 months ago.
This might seem a bit odd, but I'm defending against him when there are antis on the pot already, and I think that he's going to be full of crap most of the time, and he's going to open most of his hands from SB, as he's quite a reggy guy, so I'm going to play that as a position play against him.
I think that was a good example of how you play against a guy with a position.
Add-on.
Yeah.
Why I don't have automatic add-on with me?
That's really, really strange.
So if you are playing on PokerStars, perhaps automatic add-on isn't working for you, because it surely isn't working for me. So, but Valkku is Iceland on the list.
And the last time we had this MTT coaching, we added New Caledonia, and I don't even know where it is, to be completely honest.
It's next to Australia, and there is just 250,000 people living there. And the smallest country that I have had a player that I have played against is Vatican, and I have played against 3 different players from Vatican country, and there are only 800 people in there. And I have played also against 2 distinct players from North Korea.
That's an achievement.
I checked it how many countries I have played against last year, and I thought to write an article about it, but now we are having our own project in Aarnimetsa Finnish side on adding the countries to the list, so
And it needs to be countries from starting from that beginning of that first post. So the old countries are not to be counted for.
yeah, but I think like something like North Korea is probably something that you don't think about, that anyone from North Korea would play online poker, but there are people that play online poker from North Korea and they are playing on PokerStars. Like Korpisuli says that PokerStars should start to run every Sunday a Twister Sunday Million MTT. That would be insane for sure, but I think that even now is Value Town on the list? Nope. And how do you check on if player's country is right? I think PokerStars has been quite vigilant in enforcing their right countries. So I think on PokerStars you can pretty much trust on what it says. Vernon Bax, what would you say is the most common country you play against?
Russia.
Yeah, that would have been my guess as well. I think United Kingdom is also high up on the list. And Germany is also high up on the list.
Yeah.
But it used to be USA that's the most common, but not anymore.
No, but I think that there are lots and lots of players from Russia in setting goals. So that would be my first guess.
I think also people from China are starting to play more and more online poker. And there are also quite rich people that... Leo Derek. We are having a slightly interesting spot here. We are c-betting and we are going for broke if he comes over that, because I think we are always having at least one overcard. And I was thinking that we could also check raise all in on him so that we could get more fold equity, but it's worse for us to go bust on the turn when we have most likely just a flush draw on the turn.
Yes, Kyyperi, we are still on. We still have tables, and most importantly we have Sunday Million.
We still have tables, we still have hope. There will be one hyper that I'm adding, and most likely I'm going to add some hypers there. I think that when you are living in Canada, you are playing against different time zone, and I think in like Canadian time zone, if you are playing on the Canadian hot times, you are playing mostly against players from Mexico that are mostly US players that have moved there, and also I think that Brazil and Argentina are quite popular.
How did you get into that situation?
Big blind.
There was somebody just came in the table.
And soon Kyberi is probably going to make you jealous on his. He is making like burgers himself with a from scratch.
Kyberi, I would like to say you some harsh words. I shouldn't and I won't, but I would like to say you something. Don't. You're teasing us too much. And if there is someone who doesn't know the fact that hungry girls are not that happy, this is the next break when I will have to get something to eat. I'm really nasty when I'm either really hungry or really sleepy and tired. And it affects me more than it affects Aarnimetsa to be hungry. So I'm the one who usually has to worry about baking or making the food. And it's almost 1 o'clock. We have been here for what?
4 or 5 hours soon.
Soon 5 hours. So we definitely have to get something.
And of course we are going to put this on replay for YouTube, and on our YouTube channel you can watch it with all the breaks taken out of it. So it's probably a better experience on watching this coaching later on YouTube. So that's something that the previous coaching is already available there. And on next week we are probably just doing Sunday. I have tried to put something forward for the other coaches if they want to do something on Thursday or Saturday, but we haven't heard anything yet. But we'll see what happens. At least we are doing something on Sunday. And Vernon Bax's next one trying to abuse our hungriness.
Maybe we should start to ban you. Ban all the people who are just teasing us with their own menu. Barbecue chicken breasts, nachos, what else? Milkshakes, deep fried Snickers. This is torture.
This is like the famous Finnish food, reindeer torture.
Oh dear, I want to have burgers.
So on our next break, will you go to the burger shop to get some?
That might be the case, but I'm just worried about you. If you start to eat some huge burgers and having all of these tables running, it's not going to be a pretty sight. So I was wondering if I should go there in half an hour and try to time my delivery for the break afterwards.
I think if you are starting on a break, you are probably going to get back. And pretty much we are going for broke with tens. I'm just thinking about, is it more optimal to call and go broke on any flop, or is it more optimal to get it in now?
Big decisions.
And when we are hitting an overpair and flush draw, well, I think that I'm going to let him have a chance to bluff for the off chance that he would have ace king or ace queen. But I'm worried that he will have an overpair here.
Oh, we are in good hands so far. And the river is a friend.
How's your chocolate?
I'm not friends with you anymore. This is not fair. Oh dear. But good luck on the pot on the Sunday Million.
Yeah. There are more than 1 in 3 that are going in the money in the Sunday Mill. So I think we are having quite a good chance of making the money today.
So how many places? 1170. So approximately 1000 more players to go for the
Closer to 2k. I think if we are here at 3 o'clock, then we will have broken the bubble on the Sunday Million. I might be off with my prediction. It's just the structure is so slow that even though now players are starting to drop, it's not going to be as quick as I'd hope for my hunger. So these are now going to be the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Note to self, eat a lot before the next one. Vernon Pax, can you explain why you flat tens there? Basically, I was thinking about what would be the most optimal way, because his range is going to be wide, and what's the most optimal way to screw him off his equity. And I'm thinking about flatting with tens there, because if I'm shoving it in on that spot, I don't want to be folding because I have so little stack left. But if I'm going to shove it in, on the best case, I'm getting it in against ace king, ace queen, and be flipping. And I think when half of his range will be jacks and better, or tens or better, I'm going to get it in real bad most of the time. So I'm trying to get them do stupid things on the flop, and I think I succeeded in just that.
Had there been ace on the flop, had you fold? Would you have fold?
I would have shoved, because then I would have gotten him away from his jacks to kings part of the range. But that's like, we opened under the gun and he 3-bet from late position. So I think that he's going to have quite a lot of very strong hands in his range, and way stronger than if he would have opened from late position and we would have been in the blinds. Because then I think with tens it would have been quite a no-brainer to shove it. But it's because of our action, how it went down, that he 3-bet under the gun opener, why I think that making a stop and go is better. When I flat and the flop comes ace king x, I'm check folding, but if it comes just ace, I'm going to be shoving it. Because then I think I can screw him off some of his equity. And like, generally, if I'm not hitting when I'm doing a stop and go, then I'm more inclined to shove than when I'm hitting the board hard. But with my stack size, I'm most likely being shoving, and I'm going to fold ace king and ace queen flops, because my equity against his range is going to be so small on the flop. Even though with that kind of stack depth, I don't want to be doing that. But it's kind of a screwed situation with tens. I think that when we open UTG with tens and we get 3-bet, we are pretty much getting screwed of our equity most of the time. So then we need to do something else to make it better for us. But there are very, very few flops that I would be check folding.
So it turned out to be an interesting hand anyway.
It usually does, that it does turn into a really interesting hand after you are getting into a really hard spot to play. But it's also interesting in poker wise why some of the hands that get most discussion in forums and etc. are hands that are interesting but they aren't probably important. That hands that are interesting, there are some hands that are interesting but not important when you are facing the spot so few times, but there are hands that are really important because you are oftentimes in the spot, and because this is a weaker player, I'm going to be calling this, and I'm not in the best possible shape because I would have been splitting the pot with, and I thought that his range will include, because he's a weaker player, his range will include weaker hands.
Well, you would have been splitting that pot with weaker aces so many times.
Virpa, are you flatting also with better pocket pairs? I think queens plus I'm shipping in because it's going to be plus EV against his range, but something like jacks would also be in an interesting place to stop and go there. Especially when we have Markus Y here, that stop and go in a different spot than stop and going jacks have been running choke or something. And Korpisoturi hoped more interesting hands, but you know, Korpisoturi, I will be screwed on most of the time that there will be more interesting hands. We have had some nice hands on a row.
Vernon Bax is asking, what kind of hand do you think he had when he was min-raising your ace 10?
I'm mostly going to my fish whisperer mode, and I'm thinking that a weaker player might be turning a weaker ace into a bluff without knowing that he's turning a weaker hand into a bluff. But like if there would have been a better player, especially when the board is paired, I think that some weaker players are also, they are bluffing the really bluffy hands that they have missed completely because they think that I have been missed completely as well. So there will be a lot of really stupid hands in the range. And it's also hard for me to fold when I have pretty much there will be hands that I'm losing to, but there will also, I will see on the spots, I will see pretty stupid hands. Virpa, considering your tight UTG range, your flatting range will be really exploitable 10 to good players. Yes, my flatting range against a small re-raise will be really exploitable, but that's a situation we aren't going to often get. So, and also I don't think that when these players have had like 40 hands against me, they are not going to have such a deep reads on me that. But usually when I'm playing tournament poker, I'm trying to exploit my opponents to the max, and the more I'm trying to exploit my opponents, the more I'm making myself exploitable by the really good players. I really hate the time tournaments when they have like the tournament plays for 30 minutes or 1 hour, but the when the tournament plays for that sort of time, they still charge regular rake for it, which is pretty hard. Veronbacks, then do you think a better line might be checking the flop to him and letting him tool out? Actually, when you are putting it this way, it probably would be a better option for me to check with ace-10, because ace-10 would be a middle strength hand for me, and I would probably get more out of the guy with a weaker hand if I'm letting him an easy opportunity to bluff. So I think that was a really good point from Vernbacks on the other chat. So, but we are going for the fourth break. So
we will be back in 5 minutes.